with. But if you say something or bite me, or in anyhow disrespecting me, or in anyhow trying to speak about something that you don't have any evidence about it, and trying to trash someone's credibility in some point somewhere, especially Julia at this moment, then you are not only dealing with Julia that maybe not having money to come after people. Because I'm a power of attorney right now, so I have a responsibility about the situation. So again, when you open your mouth out there, just be careful what you are talking, because it's not only me that's watching you right now, my lawyer, and basically 3 of his paralegal people who are working 24 hours and 7 days, watching all those online comments. And also we are now point out whom and when and how, and we go through every single of them, and it sounded like he's going to be ready by the next week, as he promised me by Wednesday, to start to do some good communication with you guys that really posting stuff, commenting stuff, sending slanders, accusations, and also spread lies about Julia. When it comes to the Diana Cardoso, and Gabrielle, and other person, Joe Ward, the investigator and also the detective is actually checking on them. So yeah, I believe that I said enough tonight about like what's going to happen, but I feel like you guys need to be happy, especially all fans and followers for Julia, that really love Julia and wants to see that Julia really succeed. And at this moment,
did she just wipe her nose and then wipe her hand in her hair?
That really love Julia and wants to see that Julia really
wipe
succeed.
in the hair. Yes, my guy. Right. So listen. Trust me when I say that this woman has made so many statements about mental health, how the haters have have affected Julia's mental health, about how she's a doctor. All right. In fact, let me bring up the quotes from yesterday so that I don't misquote this wonderful lady. Again, I respect everyone's opinion as long as it is respectful and as long as it is not hurting anyone emotionally. Julia's mental health is not okay due to a lot of comments and a lot of nastiness that went directly to her. These are things that Dr. Fia used to say. And when we look back at yesterday's postings and the changing of her entire attitude, we have to assume that she has either come across some huge big secret, or maybe things just didn't go according to plan. Because I imagine anyone who ever was to come up against the thought of being able to control Julia definitely must have got it wrong. Because Julia's statement that we read out yesterday paints a very different picture. And when did you first see the sort of the start of the downfall of the relationship, SHEENA?
I think it must have been when she had called the cops.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
So maybe right after the 23andMe DNA. Now, Fia also claimed 3 DNA tests were done, and I'm yet to still see the other 2.
Yeah. And do you think that she underestimated Julia? Do you think she underestimated Julia's...
Yeah, I think she thought she was not strong enough. Julia's a resilient woman.
Oh yeah.
She's the strongest person I've ever known. And I think she underestimated and thought she was weak. I don't know what her agenda was with her. It's very questionable.
Well, here's the thing. When we look at just how incredible a job of destroying Julia's credibility is what came next, right? That was after she left the USA. That was really the beginning of the end for that chapter for Julia.
Yes.
And I'll be honest with you, I've been honest with everyone. When I initially set up the interviews for, to talk to Julia, I 100% thought I was about to meet the 2023 press version of Julia. 100%. Right? I hadn't spoken to her at this point, nothing. And I thought, oh, this is maybe a really bad idea. I think this could be a really bad idea. And then took about 15 or 20 minutes for me to realize, wait a minute, this is not lining up here with what people are saying about this girl. And it doesn't take you long to realize how much of a slanderous job that the media done and the press did back then on Julia. It was almost an overkill scenario,
Yeah, I can 100% believe that.
Hang on a second. Does the police involved with the investigation have blood samples found by the... So I do believe in the Operation Grange report, Jeremiah, it is Jerry's DNA, saliva, and hair. But I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. If you check the Daily Mail article, type in Julia Wandelt, DNA results, Daily Mail, you'll get the full story and you can get the quotes directly there. Well, here's the thing. I mean, I don't get the impression that either we're looking at a lady who talks a big game, talking about Dr. Fia, or she's very well versed in dealing with people and their opinions on the internet. She doesn't strike me as somebody who looks like she's short of a few contacts. And so I imagine her reach and ability to push a narrative could be higher than most. I don't know. I think the switching of teams is pretty incredible. To go from being so outwardly spoken and positive and so on ball, on side, to then just jump ship and paint this narrative that it's all to do with Julia and DNA and all the rest of it, when nothing's ever been put out from these tests, right? We're talking about hearsay. So you have to now decide, do you believe Dr. Fia? Because I personally, in my opinion, I have very big doubts in her narrative. I'm just being honest. I think there's a lot more to this story than either side is letting on. Did she get paid off? I don't know. She's clueless, mate. Doesn't even have the nerves to get blood clots done. Even no nerves don't get blood clots. I don't know if that was a hard one for my brain to take in. Welcome, Pity. Thank you for subscribing. If you don't know, that's what happens when you subscribe to my channel. So whilst I'm reading out your comments, if any of you want to go and subscribe on my channel, you'll see your little name appear here. Okay, so here's an interesting one. Nanny Lanny loves to craft. Also love to craft too, Nanny Lanny. I'm about master level of leather work. Okay, we need to take over. 1 second, D Docker A. I'll just star that and we'll come to that in a second. Hang on a second. Okay. And MC, I'll get to yours too. Okay, so why is Julia in prison and not a mental health unit? MSM claims she's mentally ill. Are they not failing her under duty of care? I don't know. I never got any mentally ill vibes from Julia with, well, I mean, not dangerous levels, or not like hallucinatory, I'm living in a fantasy world, delusional. But then again, you hear stories of people who live next door to people, marry people, all of it. And they're like, I would know. I would know. I would know, right? But you just don't know. You just don't.
She's very stable. She
Yeah.
has worked her butt off to get, and her growth is undeniable. She worked her behind off to get to this point. But certain people like to weaponize the trauma. Of course, anybody who's been through the level of things she's been through is going to have stuff. She's human at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm just saying, because a lot of people might have their questions answered on how crazy Julia is by where she's currently imprisoned. You just never know. Doctor, not Dr. Docherty, D Doctor, not D Doctor either. D Docherty has some concerns about Sinclair. Doesn't know if she can put her faith in him. I will say, anyone's past that I've not really had time to sort of go and pick around and have a look in. From my interactions, everything's pretty okay, but at the same time, you just don't know anybody. You just never know. You just never know, man. That's going to be my life mantra now. You just don't know. You know, you like, you know, even Durex don't give you 100% assurance, okay? Because you just don't know. All right, 99.9%. It's just that one little. You just don't know anyone. You know, you just don't know anyone. But that doesn't mean, that's not me saying put doubt on anyone. I'm just saying that those are the facts. I'm a doctor. I got my badge from the same place Fia did. Oh, that was good. That was good. Do you know what? You get the silver star of the day. That was a belter. That was an absolute belter. Okay. Well, that's a very interesting one, Nathalie. But the chimeras have to have it's twins. So in cases of chimeras who have two different forms of DNA, it's non-identical twins who reabsorb in the womb, but the foundations of the biology of the new person, right, are half of one DNA and half of the other. A very famous case of a woman in America who had her children taken off of her, went through the courts, all because her DNA did not match her children's in any way, shape, or form because of the location the DNA was taken. It's wild. Go and look into it. You think this is crazy. You think you've heard it all. Dive into the world of the real life, medically sanctioned chimeras. So I do believe it would need to be twins, right? But I'm just saying that's one. Uber Fuber, yeah, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Silver Star, yay! My guy, my gal, my guy, my person. I don't know. Fiona, you're probably a lady, so my G. Let's go. Julia needs and deserves the answer she seeks. Getting more confused every day, even though I'm watching the podcast. If it makes you feel any better, Kelly, I feel like that most days too. She is a very talented and intelligent lady. And has all the brilliant evidence you gathered been deleted? I hope not. No. If you're talking to SHEENA, I believe SHEENA has got the fun task of going through 3.5 years worth of screenshots. So that'll be a fun one. Nothing quite like the panicking screenshots of your past self coming back to haunt your current self. I've been there. Brutal. So Julia's still in the same position as she was the last time. Allegedly, some of the other individuals involved have been corresponding with some of the legal team. but that's all just verbal chitty yappa yappas. So I don't know. Are you there, Sheena?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, that's fine. I can't remember that the question was that I just asked you. I don't know if you were listening. If so, but if you weren't, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I lost you there.
Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry. 1 second. Let me just check this. Yeah, just, big shout out to Dan. I hope you're having a nice time out in the park as well. Okay. Mira Jade Winnowayeka. Whoa. I'm going to try that again. Winnowayeka. Let's go with that. Winnowayeka. Let's go with that. If Julia goes to a hospital, they can hold her in debt. Right? See, that is the nightmare conclusion, Mara Jade, right? And we've not really talked about it openly, Sheena, but that was literally the first or second thing we said to each other, right? Was if there is any suspiciousness using certain mental health acts that are in the UK, could put her in a very, very, very horrific situation, worse than she's in now. Because the horror story would be, people, in this scenario, if you had somebody who, let's say, they could prove wasn't all there, okay, they could lock them away in a hospital and put the whole trial or whole legal case on pause until I don't even know what I don't even know how to finish that sentence, until they're cured, until they're, I don't know. But this is, you've all seen movies. I mean, goddamn, some of you have listened to Jaguar Wright. You know, putting you in a place like this, trying to medicate you and throw away the key is how they silence people.
Right.
I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm not saying Julia falls under those circumstances. I'm just saying it's a point of conversation from the public side chat here, public opinion. I'm just commenting on it. But it was something that in the back of our minds, it was a bit of a worry, right?
Yeah.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest scenario. Yeah, I imagine so. Do you know, I've never seen that movie. I think I did try to watch it once and I passed out. If Julia is lying, why don't they give her a lie detector and prove them wrong? Because here's the thing, right? In fact, no, let's not comment on that. Let's just read your question and move on, because then that's the best way of doing things.
Honestly, a simple DNA test would have nipped this in the bud a long time ago.
From the Polish realm of this, we don't even have to come across the sea for a DNA.
No, and that's where it all started. It started off by the Polish side denying it or declining it.
Right, that's a good point. She didn't just jump in with 2 feet going, it's time to go ask the other family in question. She did start off with her mother, which is interesting because, and I quote her mother as yesterday as saying, we did everything in our power for Julia. She had a wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Any mother would. Yeah, it would be like a what? Why are you asking me for a DNA? But I would do it. 100%. I would do it for my child. I think the chat would confirm. Like, if your child were to ask you for a DNA test just to put your child's mind at ease, would you do it or would you deny it?
Well, there's 2 ways of looking at it, right? If we're talking about, I mean, I'm not being funny. If your child says that to you and they're just sort of half joking, make a fun day out of it, right? But if it's somebody who clearly needs the answers because she has a deep belief that she does not know who she is, then of course you do it. You know, you sit down with extreme confidence, right? That you are about to present, because you remember her leaving your area, okay? You remember it, you know that you gave birth to her, whatever, right? With confidence, right? So, yeah, I'm Patricia. I'm 100% too, 100% with you on there. I think Stalker, firing some of our findings. Yep. Interesting.